Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I would like to share once again, but it is not my personal note, well, a part of it, because it is some of the feelings that I write since I read a book called Wildness. Well, this book is extremely famous because of its poetic atmosphere and all the reasons that it get famous because the meaning behind each story and the story that the author are trying to use it and to illustrate a meaningful, I don't know, maybe it's a huge lesson for each of us. So from this book, I know and I learn, I see a poem behind the story, and I think it is really engaged me, and I feel like I read this poem, I really get the point about the whole book, and I know what the book are trying to tell me. So the book is talking about a very different kind of life that is about to put a person in a deep wood and maybe is like a forest, and to keep that for a while, that person may get what is the really important things in human life and trying to embrace it and kept it with all his strength. So I think it is actually important because for nowadays, for our flourished culture and some type of principle of life are different than the ages before. Well, that is due to all this development, and human desires are always taking the huge parts because of the wants are increases, so that the economic are increasingly become bad like recent years. So I think if you want to know, like you really want to search what it is really deserve to live, you may check out this book. So I'm going to share this point right now, and I'm going to read out loud. Once upon a time there was a shepherd whose straits and thoughts were higher than the mountains, where a flock of sheep grazed him constantly. I have a very deep feeling about this, because firstly, the topic I thought of is to belong. The concept of belong in here is that the shepherd should belong to the highest mountain with his rod and his staff, because we all know that a shepherd's job is to protect and helping his flocks of sheep. Well, so the place where I belong him is the highest mountain. Well, the author did not use like just a mountain or forest. Well, it's the highest. And with his crew of ships, he relishes the echoes and the wind, also considered for his sheep. Well, because his job brings him to the place like the highest mountain, so he can enjoy and relish the things that it contains and could bring in the highest mountain, and also consider for his sheep. So when I was young, I really looking forward to take a job like the shepherd because I think it's really enjoyable. Like you can play, as the concept of play here, like you can just do whatever you want and you can enjoy the nature when you're doing your job, but also you need to take care of your sheep as well, because I think it's such a casual job and it is really poetic. And so yeah, to bring a better view, to make them feel the nature, home for both. So it is a belong because the nature is both belong to human and also the crew, a flock of sheep, which is the animals. Where some people cannot realize that people are actually belong to the forest, belong to the nature, because they tend to think that people are searching for a better self that's increasingly evolution or something. Well, I think, well, first of all, evolution is just a hypothesis, and I cannot believe that human can evaluate themselves once more or something. Human beings are actually a specific kind of creature that cannot be transformed by anyhow, and so in my opinion that the process of evolution is deserved to suspect. Well, because part of it I'm a theism and I believe in Christianity, so those things are seems very suspicious to me, and is cannot not trustworthy. So that's I think that people are deserved to have the live back to Eden, which is in Mother Nature, and we should go there like these shepherds because his work is also in nature as well, and he also belongs to the nature. So this job is like a home for both in the highest amount. And the second topic I can think of is the identity. Well, these shepherds could be anyone who has the dream of wildness, like nowadays when some of the artists create a beautiful artwork like a movie or a series of photo work. Like we can all know that they're trying to search for wellness from human hearts, and even though sometimes it is very difficult because nowadays we are really trapped or like in chains because of our job and the thing that we need to really consider to keep our living. Well, those things in the author's opinion are all just not necessary. Well, they are all just thing that we need to keep our reputation or our desires like to help us to reach a higher point, but all these things are actually doesn't matter. So the people are searching for free, of course, and also wildness. I've listened to many of the music and also some type of the artwork. They are all trying to shows that people are actually have wildness inside of them. Well, we cannot release them because we are trapped. Well, we are begging for free in this concrete city. How to define humankind? Are they more advanced than the animals? Well, because when we think about the wildness, we can think about the animals. Well, does humankind actually advanced than animals? Because the desire of animals sometimes is really basic for us. The desire for them is only to trap the predator, trap the prey, and to get a full meal, or like to search for shelter and to live alone. Well, or just to get thirst and to drink water. That is all their desires. Well, for us, our wants is more than this. We want to get rich, we want to get famous, we will sell our soul to be famous. Sometimes, for some people, they are totally being trapped by all this, like their soul are actually really being sold. So I think for the crime in this world, I'll always a lot like it happens every single day. So that I think our humankind, like human nature, are not actually really advanced from the animals. Well, what distinguishes us is that God given us both of different identity and mission. Well, He did not give those animals to let them preach the gospel and to give them strength to have different kind of gifts to sustain their life. He only gave them very basic desires to keep them alive. Well, that is a mystery. Well, a kind of philosophical question here. But I think that so no one could define humankind, because the author here tells us that humankind can also be very plain and easy to live, like what he does in that forest. Well, this author, he lives alone in the forest for a long time and use very basic tools and food to keep him alive by using very, very less foundation money, well, which is a very, I think, in some kind of luxury here, because he actually lived the life that everybody wants, and he, regardless of the fame and regardless what type of living it is, because he thinks that humans deserve to live like this. Well, I agree with that, although it's very, very difficult to do with it. And the third topic is interaction. So daily, humans are interaction with, well, other people in the society, or the relatives, the friends, the people they love. Well, also, nowadays, in the digital age, we always interaction with computer and those digital stuff. And as that, I think So we are actually really different from this shepherd because the things and the creature he touch and he interact with is his flock of sheep, and he's not only for like interact them with a job reason or like with some forces behind it. Well, nowadays we interact with other people because of some principles and goals we want to achieve. Like maybe we can get some goals because of that person, and maybe we can achieve something behind all the stories. Well, this shepherd is not that complicated to be interact with his sheep. He just wants to keep them fresh and keep them alive, and more of it is to keep them no pleasure in this nature and also himself as well. So I think interaction is really well important, but nowadays people cannot realize it. But back to the religion that I study the Islam as well, and I know that they're really emphasizes the act of interaction because I think it can have a better concept of ummah and to let themselves more immersed in this religion bound. So, but this shepherd, he is like all alone, no relationship with others, only with his sheep. And this relationship is some kind of feeling that are not loving or not desires and not wants. It is only a pure desire that want to keep them and protect them, always helping them. So I think these 3 points are also for our living as very important, because it is that after reading this poem, or more specific, reading this book, I noticed that what is the really important things in human being, and maybe we should keep those little things and let them to and embrace them so that we can know that what can sustain our life. And I'm really thank you for watching until now. If you left me some comments, I'm very welcome and I'm very grateful. So bless you all can find the job like shepherds, or like maybe you can having the courage to live like him and to find what is the most important in your life.